All right, ladies and gents, welcome. This is the final round for Running and for Valas, two players that were actually the same group in Platinum in the previous season, and both survived despite everyone thinking they would not. The two players that were relegated in that season were Nikov and Vinchester. They had amazing Season 2, and they've had really solid Season 3 here, but unfortunately, we know that statistically it is impossible for both of them to survive. At least, let's just assume that I'm remembering things properly. But with the way things are shaping up here, whoever wins this is most likely going to survive, and the loser will be relegated. Now, there's more potential for Valas to actually jump up in the playoffs than is for Running, because Valas has one more win than Running. But in the event that Running were to win 2-1, obviously then Running would tie Valas in wins, and then would actually be ahead of him in the tiebreak. The only thing, we've got the top confirmed. We know Yo is first. We know Doubt is second. We know Lix is going to be sixth. We do not know where Daniel will go in the group, and then Valas and Running. Daniel has to play Lix immediately after this. So Valas playing as the Franks here on Graveyards, which is our first game. Running then playing as the Khmer. And the expectation here is a scout build. And when you think of Valas and you think of Running, you may, because other people have said it, want to use the word clown or want to think whatever your thoughts are on players who like closed maps. But I'd like for you to shift your thinking, because they've been improperly looped in with the quote-unquote clowns. It's the same with Ganji. It's the same with Andy. It's the same with a lot of these next-gen players. Yeah, they're good on closed maps, and yes, they can use monks really well, but they are also very capable in other settings. And that's a huge thing to point out here. To get to game number 1, they would have had to have banned a lot of maps, and basically the last map remaining is the game number 1. And so clearly both players pretty comfortable to play this one. So, Running's got Khmer. And I think Khmer, they're going to thrive by cutting some corners here. Not making the barracks, for example, to make the stable. That's a nice little bonus. You can get the scouts out a little bit faster. Both civilizations have awesome farming bonuses. Khmer farms are going to feel stronger the longer the game goes and the messier the game is. Speaking of messy, Running at least realized that he forgot a house. So he's just going to drop down a house here and it's okay, but that could have been really bad. Ultimately, I'm thinking kind of like scouts into knights, scouts into pikes. Obviously, we could see monks as well. And if we are going to see monks, I think having scouts left over when you arrive to Castle Age can be really helpful here. Map's going to be really difficult to wall for both of them, though, this being Graveyards. It's like, which map do you prefer? Do you prefer to have more wood lines towards the front? You might look at this and think, well, Valas can wall and Running cannot, and that's true. But there's also, no backwood, which would provide some safety for Valas in the early stages, whereas Running's got the backwood lines and maybe an extra back gold or so to work with. There's 11 relics on the map, will play a role, but there's no real... they're not going to go for the relics more than they would in normal circumstances here, I believe, in the long run, just because they don't have any real bonuses that scream relics. But if I had to describe the difference between the two, I think Valas has better defense on the open maps. And he demonstrated that versus Lix. On Land's Madness, Valas actually picked Land Madness. I also think Valas demonstrated some excellent Land Madness play when he played against Daniel. But that series that Daniel won against Valas and against Running now looking really good for him, right? He's got the weakest opponent in the group in his final round. And Daniel could be a nightmare for people to play against in the playoffs if he ends up securing the third place spot. I'm expecting Daniel to 3-0 Lix, but having spoken with Daniel, he is, I think the expectation of needing to beat Lix and being expected to beat Lix is adding a bit of pressure to the situation for him. So I can't wait to cast that series, which will be next. Franks versus Khmer here. Neither civ gets really strong monks. Neither civ gets camels. So yeah, probably just going to be pikes, knights, scouts, and all that good stuff. Christar says, just finished watching Ganji freaking Andy. If you told me a year ago that those two could perform at such a high level, I wouldn't believe you. Yeah, they've looked really good. The preparation has paid off for them, and I think there's been... maybe there's some level of bias here, right? Because this is kind of my baby, this whole event. But I think it's clear that this type of a format has given players a lot of motivation to really prove what they're capable of, both in the preparation, but also just in their overall skill. And it was the same in the previous season with Valas and running. And people were thinking that it'd be tougher for them to stay up this season because the map pool's a little bit more open. And in my mind, it's just crazy. In my mind, I can remember wins that running could/should have had in earlier rounds. Valas could/should have had maybe, where they were very close to getting victories against really big names in this group. And I wonder how it is for a player here. Do they think the same? It could just amount to more pressure on them, right? When they think I should be coming in here with an extra win or two. But then again, I just can't forget stuff when it comes to Age of Empires. I can forget something that my fiance asked me to do within 3 minutes. Love her to death, obviously, but that's just unfortunately how my brain works. But when it comes to age games, I'll break it all down for you here. And scouts are going to come in here from running. You can already see Valas hoping to play a little bit passive here at the opening. He's trying to get the full walls down. Does have the stronger scouts. And running will take the hill there, which would be fine with the lesser HP, but still a little risky. And he will back away. And Valas going for the full walls here. I mean, he did small wall this. I feel like it's still a lot to ask to full wall this. Like, great players are going to punish this normally. Not really seeing insane scout production from running, though, to be honest with you. And running still doesn't have another scout in queue right now. But could just be he's waiting for a few more farms. Like, right now he's got the wood to seed 3 farms. Hasn't done it yet. And there he goes for the full garrison on his TC. So interesting stuff. Woodlines on the back for running have been walled up. And running, choosing to just go forward because he feels like the scouts for Valas won't be able to find damage. It's an interesting move here. Sorry, the woodline's smoking, by the way. Capture Age is aware of the bug. But it's an interesting move. And if he continues to move this way, there's no way that Valas gets the walls down in time. And that villager's extremely exposed. Now, will running click behind? If he clicks behind, he should continue on this way. And this is Valas' point of view. Now, Valas does not see the army from running. He's hoping he'll see it soon. But I think this is Valas just simply playing way too passive on an open map. Sure, you want to play secure with walls, but look how much you have to wall here, Valas. The running's approach, pretty smart here if you ask me, and I also really like the barracks edition. It's clear at this point that he's going to have some awkward times without a couple spearmen, but he's going to add the barracks a bit later, and I think that's fine. Like, more players need to do this. I've had discussions with Dave about it, and Dave seems to think you make the barracks at the start. I disagree on that just because you don't get the stable up faster then, and that's a big reason you pick the Khmer. So I think, like, there's a middle ground to be had where you start with the stable and then just add the barracks later when you really need a couple spears. And that's what running is going to do here. Scouts moved in. Running's just killed 1 villager. He's also had less idle TC time, so his eco is looking really strong. He's just going to get housed here, it looks like. The spearmen are on the way. Scouts still around for him. We've got more scouts for Valas, though. Valas has got a pretty strong group. And here Valas gets hit by a spearman. He'll know his opponent's going to be adding said spearman. Valas' other scouts are being saved in the stable right now. Some players might just, instead of chasing this down, they might just send the scouts and chase this. They're running... Probably feeling pretty good about the start, all things considered. But obviously, there's no guarantees here that this is going to be an easy win after just killing 1 unit, right? But I preferred his opening ever so slightly. Valas, though, shows running. He's got a whole lot more scouts. And Valas now has the forging upgrade. So the spears and scouts benefit from that. And I think this would actually be the area. Valas doesn't know it right now. But this would be the area to really push. Running needs to... There's been multiple instances where running's getting housed or is borderline housed. He just needs to do a slightly better job at that. Apart from that, he's doing good. He's thinking about the next age. He does have 3 spears here, so I don't think these scouts could engage. And running gets some really nice hits here on Valas' scouts. Still has his own scouts. And once wheelbarrow completes, which is honestly an upgrade that Running is only researching because he got pop capped. It's kind of a weird one. Khmer actually benefit from Wheelbarrow way less than other civs because they don't need to pick up the, or they don't need to drop off the food in the same way. But I mean, still not a bad upgrade to snag, I suppose. Just, and we're talking about tiny little differences at the highest level. And it's important, I think, that you end up taking advantage of every moment you can, just like Running has done here. So Valas really wants these full walls down. Running's killed 2 villagers, and this should be another villager kill with the proper blocking. Oh, so close. Actually misclicked the farm, and the wood line's open. The house went down. Oh, no, and now Running has lost 4 villagers. Oh, man, I guess he was so focused on the blocking there, he forgot to repair the house and didn't have the spearman pulled over, guys. And that's just how punishing high-level Age of Empires can be, right? You do everything right, you have a lead, and you're not on top of it for a moment, and then you could have some problems. So, I mean, all things considered, the castle age time will still be good, the army count's still good, but the eco balance is actually not with only 4 on wood. He needs to fix that. Still gotten some good hits here. And Scout's still moving around. Like, there's still an idle villager here for Valas. But I guess at the end of the day, if you get the walls down, if you're Valas, and this becomes a boom war, you should be feeling pretty good about being the Franks here. I'm not sure exactly how that happens. I could go back, of course, but we know the house just got taken out, but it didn't seem to me like Running was paying attention there because he didn't even have a villager repairing. And there was no real movement on the villagers that made me think that he even noticed that happened. Make matters worse, obviously, he didn't end up killing the villager as well that he was really focused on. Good micro here from Running, though, as he continues to run around in Valas' base. He's going to see that Vill, thinks about killing it, but would instead prefer to keep his scouts active on the inside. And res collected's got to be pretty close. Running has the lead, though. He did seed a lot more farms, at least in the early going. And plus he's Khmer, right? 16 on food, 17 on food. Super close, in all honesty. So Monastery for Valas. He's going to make some knights. He clicks the pike upgrade. Light cav upgrade for Running. He's going to have 6 light cav, but 4 inside the walls. So these, I mean, I think it's a lot to ask. And he's going to try, but it is a lot to ask for these to really do too much from here. You have to try if you've got the skill level for it. I love the husbandry upgrade, so the cav is faster. I love the TC position here on the gold, because that's the most exposed. I love the monastery choice as well from Running. There's no scouts from Valas, and Running actually gets through. And how many players would just have clicked the light cav on a villager and then let them die? He's still running around with them. Random pikeman just poking a house there, which is kind of funny. Knights are getting attacked here, and Valas' attempt at a counterattack hasn't really panned out, and not having husbandry means that his knight will get chased down. And Running, apart from that whole woodline situation, is doing a really good job right now. Oh, and he's so close to killing that. But if he runs away, he could go now use this light cav. Look at this. The light cav is now looking for that monk, knowing that the monk is there, and then Valas hops out with the knight and light cav of his own. He's hoping to protect this. That is amazing value. So what? He's killed a villager or 2? He's killed a monk with those light cav. But then also look at all the pikemen that couldn't advance out. Like now you're going to see Valas advance out with the pikes. Speaking of value, Valas actually killed a monk with that pikeman. That's something that Running should definitely have tried to avoid. And there's Running with his monks, hoping to convert the knights from Valas. Valas not exactly seeing this right away. And those monks are in dangerous territory with the light cav being out there. And guys, it just feels so close, this game, right? This is so close. I'm loving this. Running still in dangerous territory with the monks. Valas not really advancing out with his monks. There is a difference in how the monks are being used right now. And here, fight should actually go pretty well for Valas. Oh, it's so close. Remember, 11 relics on the field. In a messy game, it's better for Khmer. It's been pretty messy. And TC goes up on the wood. I mean, the wood situation's abysmal for running, though. Like, it's bad. Like, he's TC'd here. This is a TC you place when you're worried. I think the TC needs to go up on some other wood line. Running, protecting his monks. A brilliant job at that. And I also love, again, husbandry's paying off. Because he's always getting hits on the enemy like Kevin. Those monks were converting for a long time then. For a long time there. Yeah, there's tension, right? You could feel the tension. You can feel the moment. I love it as we see Valas move over here for TC number 3. Better TC locations for Valas, I think. On the stones, the golds. The running has had the TCs. And running does need to, like, you could tell he's not setting the rally point. Worker efficiency is probably pretty awkward for him in some ways. But this is Lightcav are here, and Valas doesn't really have a lot of vision on the map. And the Lightcav will find multiple kills here on the TC. Great job from running yet again here. Remember, winner of this series has a chance, depending on what happens in the Daniel Lick series, to go playoffs. But they are guaranteed safety. The loser will go down to gold for the next season. And obviously, I think, like, with how good these guys are, I think they will be the favorites in whatever group they're in gold next time. But, like, Vinchester, who is an incredible talent, who won the first season, was in gold because he got relegated after season 2, and he will not be back in platinum the next season. Like, someone like Vinchester, I know he's been underperforming a little bit compared to his standards, but he found it difficult because the gold groups are also stacked. Nice pickoffs from Valas, but he's still losing knights and is still, I feel, a better position right now for running because he's got the spears to protect his monks here, and he can convert the pikes. It's so awkward. Lots of monks are going to die here, and we're seeing both players screwing up their positioning with the light cav. And, well, in the end, all the monks are going to die, I suppose. Lots of old men dead. Advantage running economically. Running will need to defend from this, though, and I think there's always a worry. Like, I think right now, we'll see Valas actually shift villagers to stone if he can. Seeing a lot of idle time from him, actually. Oh my goodness, look at this. Idle time here, idle time here. He's really fixated on the fights with the light cav, which means he has to get some value from it. He will find value. He does kill monks. But still, idle time here for Valas. And villagers need to go for work here. Eco flying pretty nicely right now for running, but even still, like, the balance isn't the prettiest, right? But army is 7 knights for running and 5 monks. The army for Valas, 5 pikes, 1 spear, I guess he converted. 1 knight, 1 monk, and a couple light cav in queue. Running can win every engagement now. He doesn't really need that much more than what he has right now to even kill the pikeman. The pike number's not high enough for Valas. If it was 15 pikes, it's a little different. 105 population for running, who I consider the underdog in this series, by the way. I don't know what I predicted before the season, but I was feeling 2-1 for Valas today. I think that's probably what I would have done in the prediction contest, which I have fallen out of first place in because the last week and a half has been wild. Like, we've definitely had some surprise results. Underdogs getting an extra win or two, and we'll see if that continues here as the theme. But I think these guys are close enough where no one's a true big favorite. Light cav looping in again. I love running's army activity. Like, he just doesn't hesitate. And it's just been a theme since the start, right? He was the more active one. Is Valas is going to kill these monks. Well done from him because he can't engage against the main force. And here comes running to build a castle, most likely on this hill. Now, there's a bunch of trees here. He doesn't have a market to actually buy the stone. I'm worried that he won't actually have the stone to drop this castle. It feels like it's rushed. We might see a forward market territory. But he's nowhere near getting the stone to build that castle. Here we are, just here to chop some trees. Running loops in, though. And running will kill the monks. Some of them, anyways. Most of them. All of them. If only running had the stone. There, he must have scrambled down a market somewhere. Now he has to drop the castle. I don't think it lets him build it on top of the hill because of the trees. They can't fit it here. I think maybe here he tried, but he's now building at the bottom of the hill, which is extremely awkward. But he will have the knight numbers to clear this, to win this fight. He's on the hill. The pikemen will die for Valas. Obviously, some knights for running might go down as well. That is the best engagement you could ask for against pikes. Running's castle will go up. Running has a 15 villager lead. The knights can now stroll right in to Valas' eco. And Valas is under a ton of pressure. Now, he is killing some vills here. Both players, though, are looking here, where Valas will obviously lose a lot. And the castle's right on his town center. We'll see if what the play is with these castles, right? Look at the idle time. There was a garrison here from running. There's a garrison here from running. So much of running's eco's idle right now, guys. He's got like 50 idols. Valas can absolutely come back in this game. Valas needs to deal with the knights in the back of his base, though. Right now, he's making petards, and he is going to petard down this castle. That is the right play when there's two castles next to each other like this. Oh, God. The idle time for running. Guys, I'm concerned for him. This is bad. This is really bad. Like, this is... I'm worried that his eco is going to fall apart. This is rough. I mean, sends these villagers back to work. These villagers don't have anywhere to take res. Look at the balance right now. 38 on gold, 22 on food, 6 on wood. Things are going to fall apart. He's not going to have the wood to reseed farms. He's not going to have the wood to go archers, which is what he wants to do. He's not going to have a castle. He's done so much in this game, and he's done so well, but the eco balance is just off. Whereas I think Valas, like, look at the balance. He's got, okay, he needs gold right now. Obviously, gold is a concern. But the food count's 40. He's got enough pikes. And running's gonna go cav archers? No. Oh, wow. This is bad for poor running. I mean, listen. Cav archers are a mobile ranged unit, as running's going to go get relic number 5 here. It's a mobile ranged unit, and it is good against pikemen. It just never really feels part of the Khmer plan, as they do lack some upgrades. I do actually think it can work pretty well considering the circumstances right now. It's just not something you would expect with the Khmer. And I think Valas will simply try and push those cav archers back, right? Like if he sees cav archers... Oh god, as the petard's ejected this way! Oh, what just happened? So you normally save the petards up and then you drop it on the castle. But I guess the castle lost HP and the petards, the rally point wasn't set on the castle? Oh man, guys, there's been some craziness the last couple minutes here. And he's gonna have to try and get in close to the castle, but the petards can be shot by the castle now. Cav archer mass is growing. There's also monks. Monks can convert pikes. I think Valas really wants a forward castle here. Running has misclicked all of his CA right through the pikes. Here come the vills from Valas. Who knows if the petards will ever land? We are going to see rams there too, so I think it could actually happen. Running, I think, is expecting this. So he will drop his own castle here, which is so smart. Really hard to micro the CA now. He's got these tiny little groups. They do kill the pikes, but the pikes, if they get hit, still get good value. And we know idle time's been an issue here for running, so I imagine there'll be a whole lot more of it. Castle for him is smart, though, and it will go up, and Valas now needs to find another position to build a castle, and Valas has to be careful here. This castle's still shooting down his eco. He still hasn't dealt with it. And the knights can take out the scorpion, and the cav archer switch, as surprising as it is, it's working pretty well. And Valas' villagers are all exposed as they're going to go here to build this castle. Oh, but he's got like the perfect number of villagers and the perfect number of pikes. I think it goes up. What about this? Okay, the rams have gone in. The petards have gone in. I think a few of the petards hit there. Castle for running will go down. Castle for Valas will go up. So, crazy game here. And running is on the way to the Imperial Age. Running's got 6 relics, but the relics are actually underneath the castle from Valas right now. And Valas is going to drop another castle. Now, this one might be able to be denied because the cav archers are waiting. So, Valas will take losses. The Cav Archers are here hoping for kills. It's hard as the CA player who's imping to have the army in the focus all the time. Like, it's very easy for the Pikes to get a couple kills here. Nice job from Running, though. And Running will just drop his own castle. Okay, key to Running right now, guys. The key for him is CA mass and just expanding into this corner. Like, getting the wood. I mean, there's just so little because it's graveyards. But getting access to those resources is critical. He will be able to treb down this castle. He's protected this area. He's got 20 CA. Khmer do get Chemistry. Khmer do get Bracer. It's just they don't have Thumb Ring. I also don't think they have Parthian. So upgrades you want to go Cav Archers with, or to have for your Cav Archers is just not really available. But, it just seems to me like with Valas still stuck in Castle Age that Imp Cav Archers is going to be sick. The Castle Age Cav Archers is already sick. Running still has those relics. I don't think he'll lose them because the castle for Valas will eventually go down. And Valas is going to try and click Imp here. By the time he makes it, he might lose a lot of map control. They do have Parthian tactics. Okay, so they're not horrible then. A eco balance for Running. It's set up for this too. It's set up for Trebs. It's set up for Cav Archers. It's not really set up for any other type of switch. Okay, so Valas should recognize I'm going to lose this castle. And then kind of along the lines of this castle, he needs to protect vulnerable areas. He's adding stables now, so he will go full into Cavalier. And honestly, he's got really good upgrades already, so that could be good. He really would have wanted a castle here, but I like how he recognizes it's not going to happen, so he just goes for the towers. I don't think it's ideal when you're going to have cheap castles to place towers, but it is something. Trebuchets need to get to work here for Running, and they will. It'll be kind of annoying for him that some of his relics have hopped out. Tower there from Valas. We see Bod Canero to help the towers. He doesn't have a university, though, so honestly, watchtowers won't do too much. No ballistics. No guard tower researched yet. He might still do that. But it's some level of defense. That means he can just save his army mass here. That's kind of the important aspect of this. And Running deals with that castle. And he runs through. And yeah, all he's seeing is a lot of towers. Running just now getting Bracer. He's losing his Cav Archers back here. But he is microing in a lot of different areas. So this is what you would expect. And he's dropped a castle here. And he's starting to treb down the castle here from Valas. Valas needs his Cavalier to work immediately. I think Valas is engaging because he saw there was no Bracer for Running. But he also has decent numbers, to be honest. So that's an okay fight. Yeah, and Running might need to consider Halb now that he sees Knights. But his eco, guys. He's got great Vil count. He does not exactly have the best food count. He still doesn't have the largest army count. He's got 5 ranges. He's producing out of all of them. Can Running keep pressuring here? Is still only 1 treb at the moment. Feels like those Knights for Valas are going to be licking their lips at the sights of the trebuchets, hoping to snipe them right now. The castles, though, like 2 castles hitting these Knights prior to any imp upgrades is still really nice. This is not nice. This is not good for Running. Valas finds a whole bunch of kills. At the same time, though, Running will still likely treb this castle down, and those are expensive losses for Valas. He's losing most of his army to take these trebs. And there's still going to be a treb there from Running. So at what cost, right? And Running had 160 villagers. He's stressed out. He's like producing villagers all the time, and that's what you do when you're getting raided. Running still with the population lead. Still with the better position, in my opinion. But I'm worried with no Halb. Is Khmer Cav Archer going to be enough? This castle's so critical right now for you, Valas. You've got to take out this treb, and Running's actually just going to dive with the CA. Here, Castle Fire is going to help significantly in defense. Valas will take the treb. Running's going to have a new treb. Running's Cav Archers, though, without hesitation, going into the back of Valas' eco. This castle still there, still being attacked. Castle for Running's just gone down here. He needs more CA, and he needs to to seed some farms here or there running, and then think about the Halb switch. But sometimes it's hard to get the switch going, and the snowball is possibly starting here for Valas, who's got 20 Cavalier. It's like running really wanted to use the mobility of his Cav Archers to pressure. But in all honesty, I think he really just needed to protect his Shrebs here. He's losing another castle, and then he will lose this castle too. He is, however, going to have this castle. Look at the idle time from both of them, guys. Insane. No heavy CA, right? No thumb ring. Important upgrades. But there's 40 Cav Archers, and we're going to see Valas click Paladin. Is he going to have Paladins when he makes it, when he completes the upgrade? He clicks it. I love the choice. I just don't know. Is it going to be... Are you going to have an army? Running can afford to lose villagers. We've established that. You still don't want to, of course. And don't you love it when you patrol an army and it goes into the enemy buildings? That's my favorite. Running's got villagers exposed everywhere. I think Valas should be trying to send new cav to the corners now, especially now that Running doesn't have castles. Running will complete this castle, though. Running... Oh, they do have heavy cav archer. Okay, that's huge. Sorry, I didn't realize that. This is like one of 3 times I've seen heavy cav archer or cav archer be the play for Khmer in competitive Age of Empires. And one of the examples is from like 2016 with a player who's since retired named Spring. Shout out to Spring, who would go cav archers with just like any civ. Oh, God. Oh, man. Oh, geez. Valas sees this. He's going to kill more villagers there. But then there's heavy cav archers here, and then there's also Cavalier here. You know, just thinking about gold right now. Like, if Valas could get the gold to continue with Paladin, he could maybe do this. He's really evened out the Vil count here. And I've kind of given up hope that Running is going to be able to actually seed farms with his wood. No, at this point, it's just pure CA versus pure Paladin, and we see who wins. No transitions, nothing like that. And this is where Paladin will shine. Fully upgraded Frank Paladins, 192 HP. The small numbers is where the Franks will shine. Here, Running, microing his main group. He will absolutely take losses on the other side, but he will kill these Paladins. Paladin's doing a lot there. Paladin's doing a lot here. Running's population 160, which is the same as Valas. And Running GG's, feeling like there is no chance. The front of his base has been trebbed down. The relics would be lost. And he wasn't able to finish off Valas when he had his foot on his throat, it felt like, in that moment in the game with the castle going up. And honestly, an incredible comeback from Valas, showing maybe his greater consistency as a player, and Running showing some crazy glimpses of aggression and great play, but it was the eco balance behind the aggression that really felt awkward for him. I remember, like, I showed you the moment, right? When he added the ranges, it was right after all that idle time. And so he could no longer make his own pikemen. He could no longer make knights as well. And, like, I think Running even had more castles in this game. Like, if you were to just put on paper the situation, he killed more villagers. He had a forward castle. He took his opponent's forward castle down. He had more TCs. Running did a lot of things here that can win you the game, but it was the eco management that really made it awkward for him. And you can see, like, 29,000 food versus 17k food when Running at one point had really solid farming eco. That has been the concern for Running. It was the same thing against Doubt a couple weeks ago, where he had winning positions against Doubt, and then things just fell apart in the heat of the moment. But I think the beauty of, I mean, it's obviously not beautiful for Running. Running's going to realize I maybe should have won that one. But I think when you see it happen with a player like Running, like this caliber player, I think you kind of feel how hard the game is, right? Whereas if we're looking at like a top player, like a top 3 player who, you know, maybe throws that game, then I would use the word throw a little bit more. But this game felt difficult the whole way through, and sick from Valas there, seriously. Like, still had 7,000 more resources collected. So it was, no matter what happens, no matter how bad it was, he was still producing consistently and adding eco. The tower play in hindsight was really smart from him, and the Paladin click. I wouldn't have clicked Paladin there. I would have continued to make Cavalier. He had 24 Cavalier when he clicked Paladin versus like 40 CA. And Paladin is really expensive. Dang. And by the way, Running's population similar to Valas here. I do think there's arguments to continue to play on, but he probably felt for a while now that this game was off. Like, he would lose the relics. Paladins would run right through the middle of his eco. Even if he completes his castle, he's got no vills over here. These CA won't accomplish too much. Like, this game goes on for a little bit longer. I think Valas probably kills like 40 villagers. Just the difference between Paladin and CA at this point. But CA wasn't part of the plan. It was an adapted play because things fell apart for him. All right, so, you know, the struggle right now for Running is he will know if I lose this game, I am relegated. And he will also know that's not the first time he had a winning position in Titans League Season 3 and has fallen off. It's been the same theme where he's so much focus on his army and then he just loses grip on eco balance. And it's a mental focus thing, and I completely relate to that. Like, that happens to me a lot. That's a big weakness I have as a player, and Running obviously better than me. So Valas has gone for melee. Now, I'm actually real excited for this migration game because I've been a little Dravidian'd out. I've been saying, if you're not first pick, you should be banning Dravidians. You should never play against Dravidians, and I'll maintain that. I think Dravidians should be banned if migration is in the pool. They're that good. They were banned. Japanese was banned. Italians was banned. This is Running's home map, so a lot of civs got banned out. He was the one who actually banned Italians and Dravidians. Maybe because Valas was first pick. And Valas first picked melee. And also, what is this build? Okay, if I had to guess, this build here is a low fish, fast galley build from Valas. Because in Nations Cup, there was a build going around where players would early dock with like Lithuanians. But this is radical, right? Typically, you're going to just chop some wood with the lumber camp. You get the wood for the dock. You add the dock. You add fishing ships long term. You fast castle. And I think that like Byzantines with their fires are really good. But I think Valas is not going to add fish. And this is going to be like a sub 10-minute feudal age time on a map without boars. This is either going to be incredible, and it will kill all of Running's fish, and then Running will feel completely helpless, or it's going to be horrible. There's no in-between here for Valas. And I'm inclined to lean towards horrible. Like, the Persians and the Lithuanians were the civs that I saw do this before, because they start with the extra, in Persians' case, plus 50 wood, plus 50 food. And in the case of the Lithuanians, the plus 100 food. But, like, you got to win this series to stay alive. Valas actually has pretty good chances of getting playoffs, too, if he 3-0s this. So every win still matters so much here. So part of the reason you do it, if you're wondering, like, why do players try this, is because the 2 villagers on Shorefish brings in food pretty fast, so that's 150 food gained. Whereas Running has just now started to take that food. But then it's also for early fishing ships. But now you've just dropped the lumber camp anyways. I don't like it. Come on now, T90. We saw a horrible start on Coast and Mountain from Doubt yesterday, and it turned out okay. It went to Imp, but he lost, Mad V. If making it to the Imperial Age off of a bad start got you any type of benefit in the standings, I would agree with you. Don't want to come off as too brutal, but I think if you could just flip that around and say that if Doubt had a better start, that game might have gone to Imp and maybe he would have won that game, right? So this is wild. Ends up being on 1 fishing ship while Running is going to be on 2. So I don't really know if the start really did anything here for Valas. You should give people $10 per game if they imp into GG. No, we don't have the budget for such frivolous spending. So I still think that he could still try fast galleys because he's still really heavy on food and really light on wood compared to what you would normally have at this time. You see how much wood that Running has? This is for a second dock. This is for more fishing ships. This is for the fast castle play that we've seen so frequently. feels to me like even the second dock isn't realistic for Valas right now. It's also interesting because it feels like that's what he wants to do. Yeah, he's definitely going to click up here. This is still going to be super fast with the melee. And it'll probably have to be, if he wants 2 dock galleys, 1 lumber camp. Yeah, he's going to click here, guys. I think he could achieve the same exact result and the same exact uptime with a more efficient eco. But I haven't tested this myself, and we've got to trust that Valas probably has. So here we go. Like, he's going to have 4 fishing ships. The goal is to up fast with the melee and go kill the opponent's fish. Now, normally, what happens with the galley play is it takes so long to get to the opponent's side that by the time you get over there, your opponent's making fires. But you are melee. You advance a lot faster. So you have more of a time window to kill the fish. Now, I saw a game like 1.5 months ago. It was the first round. It was Sato Dragon Star in gold. It might have been second round. Anyways, like, it's been a bit. But what Sato did was he went like 3 galleys and then added fish behind it. Because the 3 galleys, it's all about getting the initial galleys there and not a galley mass. It's just enough galleys to kill the fish. So I could see Valas doing that here. Let's see, does he add another galley? No, he adds fish. This is interesting. So 2 galleys and then fish. And if you're going to do this, the galleys have to be in the same spot, in my opinion. You don't like the 3rd dock? I love it. Look at the vision. You're melee, man. Oh, it's amazing. Without melee, maybe it's not as good. But you don't really have a lot of idea of what's out in water, so. So I think running should actually adapt his build and not go for blacksmith market right away. And he should just make fires to protect his fish. I think it's needed. But the build, you know, it's like you do that, then you're not in Castle Age as fast. It's like, it's really tricky. So yeah, the actual opening for Valas was kind of weird, but this actually makes a lot of sense. So he himself will end up getting around 8 fishing ships. And let's see if these 2 galleys can kill fish. Yeah, I think it's like too risky if you just YOLO galleys. I also love how he's kept these galleys together. So running opts for fires. Unfortunately for him, he's queuing fires in the other docks. It's actually good for him, though, that the other 2 started the queue faster because he's going to run that way. He sees it. You see, normally you're thinking if the opponent goes galleys this fast, they don't have as many fish. But Valas has tons of fish. This is pretty sick. Running is going to use the market. He clicks up to Castle Age, and that Castle Age is going to be hugely important for him here. Doesn't have loom, so needs to be careful with his villagers, but now his fires are out. Maybe he loses another fishing ship or 2, but this is kind of okay for running. Because he'll be in Castle Age faster than Valas will be. Valas, though, will drop the market. I think he will at the very least check the prices of the market and see that stone has been sold. Because it changes the price slightly, so he should be able to look at that and know that running has done the same. And that, in turn, tells you this is a water war. Running will not drop TCs if he sold his stone. I know that seems crazy, but that's actually what should go through their mind if they're able to think about it like we are, which they can't because they're playing, but still. Like, no transport for running, so it's just, like, full fires. And look at Valas use the market as well. And now he adds his own fires behind this. Really intelligent stuff, actually. Really, really smart. But I don't think it's necessarily better. Right? Because you're behind in fire ships, and your opponent in Castle Age faster, and your opponent's Byzantines. Galleys are actually still around, and galleys will kill a villager there. Nice find from Valas. But the faster working fires could be really strong on these fishing ships. It could be awkward for Valas to defend this. Valas will be up soon. Just missed out on the blacksmith. 14 fishing ships running. War galley upgrade. Running no transport yet even. He's like, screw it. I know that the galley opening is weak. against my fires. And if you try and go for your own fires, I will destroy you. Kind of unfortunate for running that he wasn't up a little bit faster, because the like 3 or 4 fishing ships would have gone down already. And here he backs away. Now we see him push in. This is a must-win game for running. If he loses this game, he is relegated. He sails or runs away there. And yeah, he just says, I want fishing ship kills. This is what I mean. See the difference? That's so good. Yeah, 3 kills is totally worth losing a ship there. Loom for Valas. Valas is just transported to the middle, and he can build things here with these villagers. He also has his stone, too. Running, still no transport. He actually goes for a university here. And that tells me he's thinking about fast Imperial Age. It is cheap with the Byzantines to do that. And he is going to completely dominate Valas on water here. Valas has no chance of surviving. Not unless he lands a couple demos. The transport will go down. God, it was so important that Valas got here when he did. And all the fishing ships will be killed. All goodbye to your fish here, Valas. Well, unless Running doesn't realize. Running does realize. And sheesh, brutal. Remember, they don't have farming eco, right? They've just got the berries. So not having the fish hurts so much here. And now, you know, the eco count's higher for Running. Still has to deal with these galleys, which it looks like he'll deal with. And Running can think about his next plan. But, you know, Valas is going to try and squeak by with a couple fires. This would be huge. If he could kill fishing ships as well with a couple ships, could be really nice. And he will start to lose his docks as he's TCing the middle and getting relics in the middle with his monk. He's also going to sneak forward dock there. Okay, Valas, pull this one away. Pull this ship away so this fire can do the job. Oh my god. I'm not sure if Running noticed this. Okay, he did. That was intentional from Valas. That was super smart. And now Running's only at 7 fishing ships. And like, Fast Imp here? It just gives you... What does it give you? It gives you fast fire ships? I mean, you already have the stronger position on water. You don't really need fast fire. I think he just feels like it's natural because he doesn't have the TC in the mid. But I think Imperial Age is just going to offer a bit more of the same. Do you need chemistry before you make Dramens, guys? Because Byzantines do get Dramens. I feel like Running would be one of the few players in Platinum that would actually know about the Dramen. It's like the Cannon Galleon type ship, or like a Mangonel type ship. You don't need chemistry for it, you just need Imp. Dramens would be sick. A couple Dramens here, because you could start to hit all the eco. That would actually be insane. Here's Running. He's scared because he knows his opponent's probably in the middle. He will add another dock for now. And that's just helpful for his fishing ships. And he's adding a lot more of them, which is smart. And now his scout moves out and he'll see Valas is here. Valas has outposted the map and has been scouting around and is looking for his opponent. There's 2 demos here for Valas, but that's the only dock that he has at home. And he will look for the fishing ships from Running. Because he was here before. And he will actually... Look, because of the Malay dock vision, he can actually see the fishing ships going that way. And Running's got to get more navy here to defend this. You can't be losing your fish. Because you don't have the TCs, right? You need to defend this area. Such a good job from Valas to find little bits of areas for damage, though. It's seriously insane. Eco KD is pretty close. Running has to bring all this navy home now. And actually potential for the demos to land because Running might have just patrolled in there because he's stressed out and focused on all of this. Don't know what water control really gives you there, but still. Scouts are fighting here on the hill. And wow, that was funny. They both part ways because of the mango. And now we have chemistry for Running. Who's making a Dramen? He is making a Dramen in competitive Age of Empires 2. We are seeing our first Dramen sighting in Titans League Season 3 when it matters the most. Now, I know the ship's really strong. I do not know the range of it myself, though. It's still rather new. It was added with the Rome DLC. What range are we talking about here? Because the thing is, if you just have fires, you can't range the shoreline. Like, you can't do anything from the shoreline. But if you have long-range ships here, it could kill a lot of stuff. Here we are. We've got 12 range. Oh, baby. Look at it go. Mangonel's ship. Oh, God. Your first strawman's going to get converted. Woo, that was close. Monk's going to get fired down instead. So the thing is, it's like, what do you do against the Drawman now? The Drawmans should absolutely focus here, because that is a great deal of Valis' eco. And if you drop a castle, you're going to lose the castle to the Drawman. So castles have to avoid the shoreline. Valis is just like, I got to go monks here. Here they go. Also, of course, really important for running to protect these things from any potential ships. And bam! Drawman hype. Wait, am I looking at the wrong stat? No, it's Pierce. Pierce is 6. Yeah, they're ocean onagers. 50 attack. The fact that you don't need to wait for chemistry for them is actually insane, because chemistry takes quite a bit of time. Redemption now for Valis to, I guess, convert enemy buildings and potential enemy siege, and potentially could convert a Drawman there. As, you know, he's trying to just stop running from building up these buildings right now. Only one villager in the middle for running. Pretty soon, these villagers are not going to be able to collect resources. Valis just snuck up a dock here so he could make a fire. So he could go kill the Drawman. Like, you don't have enough range to do anything about the middle. So Valis should know that he can hold the middle. And he's been really stubborn with this too. Trying to convert the ships into buildings. Love the flag. Or the sail. It's not a flag, but you know what I mean. The mast. Oh, God. The Drawman got deleted. He was worried his opponent would get one. And honestly, probably a good delete there. Because if Valis would get one, Valis could do a lot of damage with it. And the hand cannons pop out of the only range there for running. Monks could easily convert the hand cannons, but not if you're getting Drawman to death. And the hand cannons do a lot of damage. I think Valis is falling apart because of the Drawman attack. Running is running. He's drumming. He's Drawman. Like, guy's doing insane damage here. Look at the damage the Drawmans have done to this starting island. So yeah, take the middle. Your entire starting island will be vulnerable is kind of what running's thinking. And very rarely do you see anyone have a chance without actually having a TC in the middle on migration. It's impressive. Also, here, there's a fire galley from Valis. He tried and maybe successfully killed the Drawman. I'm not entirely sure. Wild game here as we see a castle now for Valis. Out of Drawman range. Valis could still win this as long as running can't take him in the middle. This definitely has, like, Legend of I Sit vibes, if you guys have watched that. Obviously, that's low elo. Still only 2 Drawmans out there. Fast fire ship on the way for running. So his fire ships will be even stronger now. But, I mean, Valis can imp. And hand cannons still only have 7 range, and monks in Castle Age have 9 range, and in the Imperial Age you have 12 range. So, and if you don't attack these monks right now running, your ranges are going to get converted, and you don't exactly have villagers here to make more of them, so you kind of need to attack this. But if you attack this, then the hand cannons get converted, and Valis is holding on against the Drawmans as running is researching heresy. But he's lost a range already, and he's lost a hand cannon. And he lost another hand cannon here. What? So heresy, when your unit's converted, it just dies. It doesn't switch sides, which is obviously nice. But we just need something more from running. Like, we needed Trebs, actually, to be able to hit the castle. But he never was on stone because he was on everything else in order to get this position. It's the pros and cons of the game. Valis still alive and hoping to avoid the Drawmans. You saw there was some damage there. The Drawman should maybe park itself here to deny the gold, but we see that obviously running doesn't have full vision. The running making a bunch of transports to maybe get villagers to the middle for a castle soon. I want to see the first thing Valas does is get block printing for the monks, but then also I want to see a trap. I feel like this trap should take out all the buildings, and if you see the whole land here in the middle, when running comes to drop that castle, you will be ahead in the trap numbers. It's important you're ahead in the trap numbers. There's a transport ship getting attacked by the fire. It's just a castle age fire versus a fast fire. The transport ship will be fine. Yeah, like, presently, there's no reason for Valas to make the treb, but it'd be really nice to have it if your opponent shows up. I think running's dead, guys. I think he's dead. I do not think that he has enough resource control. Even if he kills these villagers, running has no realistic way of getting the middle. Drummond or no Drummond. And anything he will make will just be converted by monks. And Valas can always add more eco in the middle. You needed to have something more. Like, how many times have we talked about it, right? When we have casted this map, or I've casted this map and you guys have watched with me. I don't know. Maybe you're casting and I can't hear you. But it's always been about having unit control. And there's been a whole meta to stop any monks from working that is evolved with scout control in the middle. But this is the first time we've really seen the fast imp. You just can't have, like, zero army in the middle, or at the very least, it needs to be an army that has scouts. And here comes running. More villagers coming in. The transport could be converted. You will not have a way home, villagers. And what does Valas have? Valas has trebs, because he saw this the whole way through. Valas will treb this castle down. Running needs to now wait for his own treb in order to take out these trebs, and he's already so many steps behind. And running, with that, he's relegated. He resigns with 90 population. Valas wins the game with 88 population. And what an interesting little game there. You know, I can fully understand the temptation from running to try Fast Imperial Age. And he knew about the Drummond. And he got pumped about the Drummond, just like so many people did. But even though he killed 45 eco this game, 45 eco, and lost 10, he wasn't expanding eco onto different areas of resources here. And so he's just out, right? Like, this castle's going to be trebbed down. We know that. He knew that, which is why he resigned. Any of the military units he makes just gets dealt with a couple monks. He doesn't have the resources, really, to justify going scouts at this point. He just needed something more. So, you know, running fully recognized the situation that this reached a point where Navy it doesn't do much more for you. Unfortunate result for him, of course. It was a really fun game. And I believe that means running is relegated down to gold. We still have to see the third game, though. And the third game has pretty big ramifications for Valas. Because if Valas wins this next one, Valas could potentially go to the playoffs. All will depend on the result from Daniel against Licks, which will happen after this. Jack says, man, F monks, I can't stand this whole monk meta. Why won't the devs do something about it when literally 90% of pros complain about it? Okay, listen, guys, I get you don't like monks. But, like, the biggest times that my audience has complained about monks was yesterday when Doubt refused to make a single light cav with a 40 villager lead, refused to make a stable, refused to click the freaking light cav upgrade. And then here, where running has no map control whatsoever, goes fast imp on a map where you need to have control of 70% of the middle of the map. I can agree with you that monks could potentially be a problem, but the greater issue here is absolutely not monks. This is not an example to say that monks are OP, in my opinion. This is an example to say, because there's so many games of migration where having middle map control is needed. I really think this is the key, right? I understand, yeah, monks are strong, but let's say monks didn't even exist here. This still is an issue to not have a little bit more map control and fortifications in the middle. People don't like to hear the Voodaloos. And I don't mean to clap back at your comments there, but it's just the easiest unit to make there as you boom up through the middle. Watch every other migration game. Players are building up with light cav in the middle, and the monk meta just folds. Running. He picked migration a lot in this season, was never really able to control the middle all that well. All right, so game 3, and for running, sorry, I got to switch the colors here. For running, it has been unfortunate, right? Game number 1, he could have won. Maybe should have won in some people's eyes. I wasn't able to get the job done. And then the previous game, honestly, I feel like his approach to go fast imp, I said it when he clicked up to the Imperial Age. I don't think it has a large place on migration. I think he really needed to have more map control towards the middle. Well played from Valas, though. That was really unique game. The galleys in the middle, or sorry, the galleys to get some pressure in, and then adding the fishing ships, and then quickly transporting to the middle before he subsequently basically lost all water control. It was very impressive play from him. Vietnamese for running. He'll know exactly where Valas is located. And he goes forward now, feeling some heat, I imagine, being down 2 games. And he wants to steal some resources. Unfortunately, we'll miss the sheep there from Valas. And of course, the Age of Empires gods, they then give Valas the sheep. Or I guess the pigs. Sorry, pigs. Maybe they're sheep in pig clothing, but... yeah, this is the Mongol scouting bonus for you, right? Mongols have a lot more vision on that scout. And obviously a bit of RNG involved. A little bit of luck involved when it comes to trying to lame. And not the best start for running in that regard. Not the first time we've actually seen Vietnamese on Lands Madness. Cheaper and faster researching eco upgrades. Solid stable units. Good archer transition. Especially cab archers. Could be really strong here. Ooh, this is big. This is big. Running needs this. Oh, that's really nice. Okay, so he will find 2 pigs that were his. Oh, and if only his pigs would show him the way to the other pigs. Are you kidding? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, game? He somehow misses these 2 pigs. Those are the stealthiest pigs ever. And you can't make it up, dude. You can't make it up. Then Valas is just coming home to go push deer, and he runs right into him. Oh, God. I mean, it's not too bad, though, right? Because Running's still getting the 2 pigs that were stolen from him. Just double checking here. Oh, he doesn't have these either. I mean, both players, of course, you've seen the downsides. Valas, he benefited more from this. But even he hasn't seen these. When you just go forward to scout your opponent's base before your base, it is expected that you're not going to have something. And Running may just assume at this point that since Valas was at his base, that the other pigs were stolen. Running, you've got to make a mill here. There you go. But thankfully, on this map, you do have the berry bush underneath your TC, which kind of helps. But it is only 1 boar. So, yeah, food is really important here. I think Running should be at a disadvantage headed to feudal. Because the Mongols will have the hunt bonus from whatever deer they push in. And I think Valas, since he knows where his opponent's base is and where everything important is located, I think he'll honestly just push both these deer before he goes forward. T90, could Running produce a couple more Dromans to outnumber the monks? I mean, monks would die to Dromans. Yeah, you could do that, but the root of the issue there is not the monks. The root of the issue there is you do not have villagers collecting resources in the middle. His hope in the previous game was to drop the castle and win a Treb war. But it was too late. Valas already had a castle and already had Trebs. So, you know, the fast... Think about the previous game, though. Remember, it was fast imp to win and utilize water in a greater way. But at the time that Running had gone imp, he already had 1 water. So the Dromans just, I guess, didn't accomplish enough. It did accomplish a lot, but didn't accomplish enough. Funnily enough, in the Nations Cup tournament, this year or a year ago, I forget when it was, Team USA, I was playing, we thought that having Byzantines go pocket on migration 4v4 and going fast imp in the fast fires would be great. The exact same thing happened for us against Germany, which was Running's team. Now, it was a team game, but basically, like, I killed everyone's docks, dominated on water, but then they had tons of eco in the middle, and they controlled the middle with land military. So, the water is hugely important on migration, but it's not everything on migration, and you do need to transition in towards land. I thought it was a really good game. And then everyone just got, talking about monks, because people don't like monks, which is, I guess, fair. You don't have to like every unit, but... So going to be a scout build here for running. 20 pop. It's not bad. Now, unfortunate that he doesn't have these pigs. He doesn't know what Valas will go for, so he's going to start to drop some Palisade Walls. Safe play here on Lands Madness. $40 per victory, right? And you know what's kind of sad is that, like, forget about game 2 for a second. Game 1, man. Running could have won that game. And then we'd be looking at a 1-1, and then this game here would be like do or die. Whoever wins this moves on. Or stays alive, I guess, is what I should say. The final deer is going to get pushed in here from running. And looking pretty good for him. Actually, it's not so good that he's only going spear defense here. Maybe he feels like he can't justify going for scouts as he actually drops an archer range. Wow. So a bit of a difference of approach from what you're expecting on Lands Madness. For Valas, though, it is exactly what you expect. Lots of scouts and lots of pressure. Valas will see his opponents going for a range. It might lead to him checking to see if running is on this gold. Because if running's not on gold, he can't make archers. This is just going to be a pure, like, trash rush, I guess. Like, spears and skirms combined. Not really the type of army comp that I think running was coming into this game hoping to go for. And I think he could have still gone scouts here, in all honesty. But he probably would have struggled to produce them right away. Which is why maybe he switched his plan. Yeah, there's only one boar on this map for Mongols, but there's hunt everywhere. And still, you know, being able to hit fast in feudal age is a really strong thing for the Mongols here. Look at Valas just wait. He's like, you've got a slow army comp. I'll wait for you. He sees it's going to be pure trash. Now, this is just going to tickle the villagers. It won't kill villagers quickly. What it does do is it kind of counters the armies that you could make and that you're currently making. Spearmen against the scouts, and then skirms against any archers you might make against the spears. It's awkward offensively, though, and it's really easy to overextend with this, especially if Valas just makes a skirm or two of his own to take out the spears. Then all the skirms go down. I personally am worried, just considering the circumstances right now, right? You've got the Mongol player free to move out and take hunt elsewhere because there's no scouts. It's 2-0 for Valas, and Valas is playing like very well and very confident. I don't think running's feeling great about this opening. It's not something I don't think he was planning on. I just have some concerns that possibly this could go really wrong for running soon. The scouts for Valas looking for kills, and there's spearmen there from running. Well played. Valas will continue to loop around. Running is not seen this. In his fog, he could see the dead deer, though, so he could always pull over there. These villagers are just like, we don't care about you. You don't kill villagers fast enough. It looked like an overchop there for running, but it was not. If running getting fletching now, he's got 7 spears. He's got 6 skirmishers. But he hasn't really done much damage. He hasn't stopped the Mongols from taking the hunt. So Valas could make more scouts, make more skirms. And the micro I mentioned earlier is the play. You use the mobility of the scouts to move around. You get to decide when the engagements are taken. And your skirmishers exist solely to take out the spears. Now, it's not that easy, right? Because then running has upgrades on his skirms and more HP. So he will use his skirms to kill your skirms and then the spears to stop the scouts. It really is micro-dependent. This is a nice find, though, for Valas, just to weaken that scout a bit. He's been patient here, right? He's been as patient as possible, Valas. Getting fletching as well. He'll have more skirmishers than running will. I think this is going to be really tough for running. Especially because running has gone this way. I think Valas pops out here and he stops the retreat. Yeah, so now running will find it very difficult to be able to group up his units with any new units that could be coming from home. And the skirms for Valas just simply outnumber running at the moment. As Valas is going to run up the hill, but there's just a lot of spearmen there. A couple of them are weak. Valas will bait the spearmen in, so he's like, I'm going to attack you, and then it back away because the spears will come, and if the spears don't come, then the scouts engage, and now the spears are on the way, and now the scouts pull away. This whole army is going to get cleared, man. I just have so much more faith in Valas in this situation. The spearmen are so weak, and the spearmen are all going to go down, and that means every skirmisher goes down. And I wonder how much fight is left for running. Like, if he knew... This is actually Rex, so I don't know when they played this or what result they knew about. I think the way everything's structured is he should have known the stakes. We even have, like, players who are playing, and it'll be cast as recorded games, are not allowed to share results ahead of time, things like that. That way, everyone's going into it with the same mindset. So he should have a good understanding that he needed to win today. And he just got smashed there. We can simply just make more spears and skirms and defend. Could still fight on here, but it's a lot more wood and food spent. And Valas just thinks about Castle Age now. I think with the way Dark Age went, running didn't feel like he could really compete in the Scout War, maybe especially against the Mongols. And that's why he decided on this opening, but this is not a confident opening. This is not the type of opening you need on Lands Madness. And Valas is... honestly, I think Valas has got better as this series has gone on. Like, the first game, it was a little rough in early Feudal, but then even in, like, Castle Age, he was so solid, despite being behind for so long. The previous game was super smooth. This game as well, just, like, so smooth. And it could go both ways, right? You lose a couple games... and you might not be able to be as sharp if you're in running's position as well. But I've been really impressed with how Valas has played this. I'm happy with running's fight. I hope people respect that. Because a lot of people... like, there have been a lot of players that have been relegated already from TTL. Mainly the guys who've lost more than running. But, like, how many times do we see early GGs from the guys who are going to be in last place? Running is most likely going to be in 5th place, which still means relegation for him, but it has not been a failure of a season. He's had a really good season. And lots of, I mean, super close in instances to get wins, which would have kept him alive, you know? But I think him continuing to move on here, continuing to go with this trash and try and push back against Valas shows the type of mentality he has and how big of a fighter he is. The concern, though, is when Castle Age comes in, what's your plan once you haven't even clicked up, right? Like, smart from Valas to continue to make skirms, though, because if he didn't do that, tons of spearmen could maybe have an effect. The KD 12-6 right now. Running, this is his best moment to take engagements. Take it right before Valas is in the next stage, and then maybe you've got a chance. Valas continues to bait engagements from the spears. Actually takes the fight here. He's going to get the light cav upgrade. Probably doesn't want to do that. Still will clear out a couple more spears. He'll have step lancers as well. And yet again, it does feel like all of this army will go down. Running now 2 minutes away from Castle Age. Still not taking any damage from the armies that could be coming from Valas. Still has really good eco behind. If he can hold, he could be okay. But he will lose every spearman, every skirmisher now, and the KD's not going to look much better. And now it's like, what's your follow-up? Well, the answer is probably going to be more spearmen. And more spearmen's the correct call against this amount of cav. But then it's like, well, Valas is in Castle Age faster than you. What's he going to do? Probably grab relics. Probably drop a second TC. Has been freely taking the hunt around the whole map because there's never been any mobile threat from his opponent. Smart thinking. He used mobility. Run around. Hard to wall in this map, right? Find some areas for damage. Look at running, though. He's like, I gotta wall in all of this. This is hard work. Hard work, especially when you're probably just going to chop through a wood line anyways, right? Light cav and lancers on the way. Valas is simply going to boom. TC heading over to stone there. He shows up. Running is there with spears. And running 20 seconds away from Castle Age. With 2 ranges right now, I could see running going for cav archers. Eco's actually set up to go knights, believe it or not. But cav archers would make sense if you can get the wood. Pike upgrade and then squires, if Vietnamese even get squires. I don't even know. That would be nice. And Valas should expect CA because he sees 3 ranges. But he is building up towards even better CA. The Magadai. I wonder if he'll... usually what you do right now is you pull off villagers from here and you chop wood because you're really low on wood. Yeah. But like how much does he send to wood there? Yeah, see, if he sent, like, most of those vills to wood, he's just going to eventually build the castle. This is for an early castle. That was something that he's factored in. And so you just use the light cav and the lancers to hold against this push for now, and then build up towards the castle. That's the idea. Lancers should engage against this group using the range. Well played there from Valas. Textbook stuff there with the lancers. And we'll take time for the cav archers to mass. Valas will comfortably use that time to build up a castle somewhere. As he again goes in against these pikes. And yeah, pikes do bonus damage, but Mongol lancers have more HP. And honestly, I think it's the only civilization you should be making lancers with, which is kind of a balance issue in my opinion, because, like, I don't know. I guess combining lancers with knights is something you could do with other civs, but yeah, we don't need to have the whole lancer conversation. I think Running has known for a while now that he's dead. And yeah, this game would have been an easy victory for Valas from here. And so the fight for the finish in terms of the playoffs now got a whole lot more interesting. We're going to have to pull it up. Unfortunately for Running, though, he will be relegated. He was super close in game number 1. Game number 2 had a unique strategy that just didn't pan out. And he ends TTL 3 in the 5th place position in the group. We can look at that now and show the final result. Again, my respect goes out to Running because I think he had a really good showing. It is, unfortunately, though, it comes back to him getting winning positions and not quite being able to close it out in games I recall versus Doubt. In a game you could maybe argue versus maybe Daniel. I don't recall how well he did versus Yo, but he just got 3-0'd one too many times, maybe two too many times. Valas gets the 3-0. So, with Valas getting the 3-0, Daniel has to 3-0 Licks, which everyone else has done, to be fair, in order to go to the playoffs now, right? Because live standings, Daniel is in 4th place. The good news for Danny Boy is that Danny Boy is safe. He will not be relegated because there could have been some worry had the results been slightly different. And I want to see, I just want to confirm that this ends up being the case, that if Daniel 3-0s, I assume Valas just goes to 4th then, right? Nothing should change there. Yeah, that's the case. So one more series to go left in this group. Unfortunately, we say goodbye to Running, at least for Platinum. He'll go down to Gold. I'm sure he'll be able to get promoted again. But it was a solid season from him. 4 wins not enough. Excited to see if Daniel can get that 3-0. You see, because if Valas won 2-1, Running is still relegated. And then Daniel would just need 2 wins. So now he needs to sweep. And it's like everybody else is swept. Daniel could sometimes have a tendency to be like too crazy and not utilize his skill to play towards the late game. So I'm expecting a Daniel 3-0, but we'll have to find out what happens in the games.